and promote the article. So for community engagement, you see, I send a lot of emails and make a phone call with authors, scientists, and also I commission papers. Maybe a lot of people just feel editors, oh, you sit at home and rejecting my paper. That's not the case. We have to approach to people to make sure they're aware of the journal. And we have competitors like Nature Energy and the Nature Big Family journals. We want to have the best results from people. And if we don't approach them, maybe they just randomly submit it to other. So we have to work a lot on commissioning. Now also like, we travel a lot to conference and to local site visits, and we attend seminars, and sometimes I organize seminar too. So in terms of writing, like I said, I write preview articles for Joule. Sometimes if I find a paper which is quite interesting, it's an editor selection, so I will choose them and to highlight them. I write a short article around 1,500 words to highlight the important findings there. And I also contribute a lot to the journal infrastructure. We work a lot on that, and journal strategy. Everybody needs to work to reshape the journal strategy. So I also do a lot of content visibility work by working with social media, blogs, and press release colleagues to help highlight our contents in external channels. And about the field awareness, I need to read a lot of papers. Then I also need to pay attention to what is publishing with my competitor journals. And I also read like Word and Tech News to get more information on like what the field is going on and what people are interested in. Okay, so the good and the bad. Good thing is like you get a lot of learning opportunities. After becoming an editor, I took the chance to talk to many our advisory board members who are normally the leading experts in the field. So I learned a lot from them, and I got a lot of chance to travel around. And because Joule is a very ambitious journal, I'm very honored I had the chance to grow with it. So I travel around and meet more people and communicate my ideas with them. It can bring a lot of joy and happiness, although sometimes and it causes some like time pressure. And I got a lot of chance to meet people, not just in my original research background, but with broad energy areas. So I also updating my knowledge by discussing with them. And this job also offers very high flexibility. Last year, I become a mom. I feel this is quite important. I work in evening, but I don't have to work under a very fixed time. So that gives a lot freedom, and so to balance work and life. And from also, it has a promising career prospects. But the bad thing is like you have to bear like bad news, and you have to, because Joule is a highly selective journal. A lot of papers submitted are finally turned down, and the rejection rate, the overall is around 97.6%, I guess, from the recent calculation. So that's a lot of paper, and just from desk rejection is about 80%. So that's also a lot of paper. You have to bring bad news to people, say, oh, sorry, we think you are doing a lot hard working here, but the paper just not meeting Joule. So it's kind of difficult. And also you no longer have discovery in the lab. So, but you will have broader knowledge on that. And everything seems like has a tight deadline, because in Joule we try to offer better also submission service. So when the paper come in, we try to make sure it's not like within us for 1 year or 2 years like some other journal do. So we will try to keep reminder the reviewer and make things efficiently progressed. And everything can be urgent, like said. So that sometimes bring a lot of pressure too. And we have endless emails to send. So how the transition goes, from research to an editor. So here I give you a comparison. So in terms of number of tasks, researchers normally get fewer but bigger tasks, while an editor can have many smaller tasks. You have to take care of a wide range of areas. And in terms of knowledge depths, of course, researchers know their research best, know their field the best. So it's always in-depth understanding, but editor is like high-level, broad view of the field. We judge the importance of their findings. So in terms of range of topics, researchers can cover just a few topics, very focused, but editors have to cover many topics. And researchers only need to social with their own area of people. It's normally smaller, much smaller than an editor can approach. So we need to do constant outreach and reach to a lot of people, because you want to make sure your journal is a broad journal, not a specialized one, and you want to make sure a journal serves a wide range of scientists around the world. And so the disappointments, like people brings disappointment to researchers. Maybe it's a paper rejection, maybe it's a funding rejection, but editors, you bring disappointment to people. And that's also a difficult part. I'm still struggling with that. And so in terms of a career development part, so you start as a scientific editor, then maybe after a few years, with broader view and more experienced, then you can become a senior editor. But you are still like a specialist here. If you want to end from here, then jumping out, you can still have a job like doing consulting, doing research funding evaluation, doing science policy analysis, or do like science technology writing, or mainstream journalist, or become a science communication consultant, or become a tech management. But if you continue your job as editor, you can jump to the managing line. And after several years, when you are experienced enough, when your connects are broad enough, maybe you will become an editor-in-chief, running a new journal by yourself. Then after several years, if you still do a good job, you can become a publishing director and even VP publishing. This is what I observed from my boss and my boss's boss. So when you go to this level of so then if you drop out, then you can still become a manager of many things like management at research institutes and tech companies. So you have a lot of choices. Overall, I think the career development paths are quite promising here. Now, so I want to share a little bit how to get a job as an editor. So what qualifications the editor needs to have. So first of all, you need to have broad science interest. Like me, I like broad science rather than just a small area of research. So then before I turn to an editor, I ask myself why I gave up becoming a PI. Then I realized I'm interested in a wide range of topics. If I'm doing research, I'm going to push myself too much. Maybe I will lose the life-work balance. And as an editor, you need to have a lot of knowledge on different fields. And so you still need to have paper publishing experience, so like paper record, because you need to know what publishing looks like by having published papers before. And they will require you to have writing skills, as long as I know, not just the editors in CellPress, in other publishers too. We from time to time, editors will need to write publishable content for the journal. And even not writing that, you still need to communicate with authors, reviewers all the time. So writing skills is very, very important. And you also need to have some people managing skills, because a lot of times the reports coming in is quite a complicated situations. Like in Joule, we are not just following the reviewer suggestions. So you need to tell people why, and also managing and also, like for example, when you're commissioning paper, you need to manage their experience, because not all the commissioned paper can be finally published. And you need the qualification to make decision. I mean, you cannot hesitate all the time. You need to find out what's the most reasonable decision based on the information you have collected. So that's a lot thinking. Sometimes I often find myself split into two persons arguing with myself. And also you need to have the ability like doing multiple task managing, because editors have a lot of small tasks. You will need to make everything organized, not forgetting anything there. So the hiring process is like you submit your CV, then after the scan, if you go to the next stage, that will be some writing test. And so then after that, there will be some timed paper test. When your EIC maybe just look at you, they give you like 30 minutes, then you do it right away. They will watch how you evaluate the paper. That's more like mimicking the real editorial evaluation process. And finally, it goes to the in-person interview. So for my interview with CellPress, I never met other candidates, because they give one candidate 1 day, so you have no chance to meet your competitors. But in that 1 day, it's quite highly efficient. I met, I think, 13 people, yes. From like our VP publishing and to our publishing directors, my editor-in-chief, and also other editor-in-chiefs, because in CellPress, you are not working alone. Journals have quite strong links. You will need to work with all the other journals editors. So in the interview, the other journal editor-in-chief will also meet you, and maybe they will judge whether the fund is happy to work with you. I think that's pretty much of the sharing here. But if I haven't made any point as clear as you want, you can send me email if you are interested in to become an editor, or if you are interested in my journal, just send email to me, or just follow us from Twitter if you're interested in Joule papers. We tweet a lot from there once a new paper comes out. And also, if you want to submit papers to Joule, just go to our webpage to search what kind of papers we are publishing. We have overall 13 collections, so it covers pretty much of the field, actually every field of energy. And if you are interested in doing some like interdisciplinary research that energy related, maybe you also want to approach us. With that, I think I can stop here and starting to take questions.
Thank you very much, Rose. I have a really burning question, so I will give the floor to the audience later. But okay, you had a really interesting slide where you show the career path that you can have as an editor if you choose to work in the editorial world. And I think you are at the level of editor or senior editor.
This one?
Yes, this one.
So
where are
your
you
question?
in this path? Where are you in this path?
Like I'm around the senior editor, because I've been with Joule for like 4+ years since it just starts. Yeah.
Okay, so you are at the beginning of the journey, I would say. And my question is, in the upper management position, so in editor-in-chief, publishing editor, VP publishing, how many women are they in your journal?
Not exactly in my journal, because it's like in my journal the team is more just like 5 people, but we work in wider CellPress team. I mean, we have a bigger physical science team in CellPress. So I'd say among my colleagues, I think male, female, maybe one to one. We have quite a lot like female scientists, and our VP Debbie like is a female, and our senior VP, and so are all female. So I don't find I don't find there is any unbalanced situation with publishing team. So yeah, I really encourage if you're interested in becoming, I mean, the audience, anyone interested in becoming an editor. So we don't have like gender inequality of managers.
Okay,
here. Yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any question?
Maybe a question for someone that will have a PhD, just finished the PhD. What kind of career how they can join the team, or what could they do?
You mean after accomplished PhD? So if they're interested to become an editor, right?
Editor or a position already in this path.
Sorry, I'm not sure whether I cut your question. So your question is like how to get a job, or is there any position?
I think in many journals, you have someone that will not be the editor-in-chief, or that will not be the scientific editor. So, but you have a team that will select publications, for instance, or it will help the editor to decide. And so, and not all the times they are scientists with a long career. So you have also quite young people that will be in the team working with the editor. So I think for many of our students that might be just finished the PhD, but they would prefer to follow a career which is more on the journalistic way, or more in the path of scientific, but not working in the lab, and so really working in a journal. So how do you see that? What are the opportunities for those students?
So it's in CellPress. I mean, like as far as I know, for Joule, we don't have like external editors or like assistant level, like help editors screening papers at the first stage. We only hire full-time like professional editors. I mean, becoming a real editor for the journal. We like make decisions from the beginning to the final. So we don't have like early stage screening position there. But as far as I know, for my sister journal, like iScience, they work with some kind of this kind of role, like helping editors, but not a real like editor who handles paper from the beginning to the last. If you're interested, I can help to ask my colleagues from there. Maybe they can share some message.
Okay, thank you. So thank you very much, Rose. It's time to move to the next speaker. Thank you so much for the really interesting talk. We learned a lot about the job of being an editor in a scientific journal.
Thank you very much.